no one had option.
I mean, sure, but you know, we can chat to Senator Davis about that. But you said that we had people inside their bunker already, like PD.
Not that I'm aware of. They were eating their own, from my understanding.
Oh, they were even their own people. I see.
Correct. It was later, much after the medic was shot by Conan Clarkson, that.
What is that?
That's moose pit.
It was much afterwards that they started to take bodies in, including hers, and started to eat them.
Okay. So to get the timeline right, she was sent down and then she was shot before she could get in the room. Is that right?
Yes. As you can see in the video, they went against whatever that the Davis had agreed to with them.
Okay. Go ahead, Tessa.
Sorry. When Bison came over and was talking to you, where was Veronica, the EMS?
She was with us.
So she would have heard that exchange?
Yes. Though I want to point out the following, and while it may not be my place to explain how this should have been looked into, I was made aware that Bison is the one that approached her first as a victim, supposedly, as the investigator, and taking her statement. It is wholeheartedly bizarre that she went from not only being interested and more than willing, asked multiple times if she was comfortable, and not sort of in any way other than like, hey, are you sure you want to do this? Do you understand the risks? Not once, not twice, not three times, but also after everything was given to her. And then all of a sudden her statement switches. Now, you might be wondering, how do I know all these things? Everything that surrounded this leaks through the hallways. I don't want to touch on that too much, but it's if what I'm being told she's been saying is true, it is completely counter to what transpired.
What have you been hearing that she said?
That Bison was held up and that she was put in a position to do this that she was pressured into it. I can tell you that's very far from the truth. And it's not until she was questioned that story flipped, and not before Nick Simone, who's got direct involvement with the Eastern Front, or whatever the hell they call them, with her boyfriend, may have incited her to follow that line of, TJ Walker's fucking twatter dribble.
I guess my question would be there, Brian. If we have two separate witnesses saying that you pulled a weapon out and threatened to kill somebody, and they were questioned separately, are you saying they collaborated their story and made that out?
I would say that if I was investigating something, I would never allow a victim to be investigating their own situation. And that inherently any statement she has made could be not only coerced by the other quote unquote victim, and not only is it counter to investigating anything, but also counter that her boyfriend, who has a complete interest in this, being able to get her statement before anything. It just doesn't
to
follow
clarify,
any logic.
Do you think Bison coerced her statement?
I think her or Nick may have. I think some of the stuff on Twatter may have. I think some of the witch hunting over this entire thing that has transpired may have wanted her to take the safer option. Yes. I think there's a lot of reasons that may have motivated her to seem very non-compliant for her own well-being.
Okay, so to clarify, did Brian? So if we've asked Bison the question of did you pull a weapon out, and did Brian threaten to kill you, and if he said yes, is he lying?
1000%. Yeah, I didn't pull out a weapon. Like I don't.
Okay,
Yeah.
Did you have a weapon out?
I did.
Okay, ignore
Yes,
the
of course.
pull out part. So if I ask you the same question, so if I told you Bison has said you had a weapon out and you threatened to kill him, he was lying. That's what you're saying. It's a very simple question.
If he said I had a weapon out and I threatened to kill him, yes, I believe he's lying.
Okay, so you said earlier that you couldn't remember what you said to him. So how can you say he's lying?
I have no reason to believe that anything that Bison says, given everything that has transpired and his behavior, would make me believe a single word that has come out of his mouth.
Right.
Especially when subsequently I know damn well what happened between the EMS, myself, and the senator, and these statements that are coming out allegedly are completely counter to what I witnessed. So yes, I question it all.
Okay. So if you'd say that Bison was lying, you're also saying that the EMS was lying, given she gave the exact same statement.
Given the rest of her statement is filled with falsehoods, yes, I believe she was coerced, and what she was saying was repeating what was on Twitter, what Nick would have heard, and what was stated allegedly by the victim that was investigating her. I mean, the entire thing is tainted.
Okay. When I
it's borderline like I you know, I think it's rather straightforward that, look, if why did no one else go and question her
on the day?
Yes, prior to the engagement of Bison.
We can't move past what Tessa just said. I mean, do you want to add anything?
I did speak with her, but I can't say it was before Bison got to her. That is actually true.
Yeah, and I hope you guys understand. Like, I'm not trying to be like obtuse here, but yeah, from my perspective, I hit back the shores of San Andreas or Los Santos. The prisoners aren't even sent up yet. I'm having to like help Erin, as she's like pretty much the only one handling all these people being sent up. It's a fucking shit show with like maybe 5 people left that can, you know, handle these things. And the allegations that I've strapped a bomb to the EMS and sent her in on a suicide bombing is already through the hallways. There's no one else who could have made such a statement. So, you know, look, I could sit here and just take on all these claims, right? But I'm not going to twist my own perspective to, you know, I'm still rather agitated that this could have been handled very differently.
So you said that the EMS was dragged into the bunker?
So what had happened was, obviously in the video, you saw that they reneged on their original deal, and Clarkson then shot her. I know this because he told me. We also know that it was like a single or 2 shots. It wasn't like she was magnumed. It was observably like a single individual. So all of that lines up. And then before we were able to get her out, and we did try to get the folks out from that little door that we later found out was like a singular door leading to like a small hallway to another door. He popped out, grabbed her, and went back in. His claim to me was he saw her strapped with a bomb, and he decided to shoot her.
Okay, so the people that you said were tweeting out from the bunker were aware that she was strapped with a bomb.
No.
What part have I just misunderstood? Because you just told me that they dragged her in. Conan knew she had a bomb on her.
No one was strapped with a bomb. I'm sorry. I don't know if I did what I said. What part did I say was? I'm confused now.
You confused about the word strapped versus planted? Like, where was the bomb? Are you saying that it was slid under her vest? Should I use different semantics here to make this clear?
She had it in her pocket. She
Okay,
wasn't strapped with a bomb, Dark.
Okay, we're arguing semantics here.
No, I think it's fair. The strapped carries a connotation of
Yeah.
like it's against her will and that like she was rigged to blow versus Brian's alleging that it was given to her, it was inert, and she was going to go plant it.
Yeah, Clarkson is inferring that he knew that the bomb existed on her person when he fired. Now, I know that's ridiculous, right? That's what he stated to me, but it was in her pocket. There was no expectation that they would know that a bomb is even entering into there in the first place. It would have gone completely counter to what the intent was.
That makes sense. But regardless, per the LSPN video, they were very aware that she had a bomb on her person when she was shot and dragged into that bunker, correct?
No. May I ask, has everyone seen the LSPN video?
Yeah. His
Yeah, loosely.
from the video, this is them robbing her, and as they captioned, C4 revealed,
This is when they would have known.
and that's Clarkson
So she would-
standing in the back left. He's the
She
one that went
was-
through her pockets.
So she shot him, and then as you can see in the video, it was afterwards. Clarkson stated to me on the phone after all of this, I believe from Bolingbrook, that he had seen her strapped with a bomb and shot her. He was very happy to have done so.
Wait, but per the LSPN video, while the holdout was still happening, they discovered she had a bomb on her person.
After she was shot,
Yes.
and we were trying to recover her,
Yes, I
the
think
doors
that's
opened, Clarkson grabbed her and brought her in.
yeah.
Which is when this is.
That's a known fact at this point. And then you've also stated that they were actively tweeting from inside the bunker, which means before the holdout was finished, everybody in there was aware that she had a bomb on her person, and she had come in to provide medical and give food, and they had access to water. So how can we reasonably assume that it was Bison who leaked when they had public access to Twitter at the time?
The context. The twats were generalized, and the hallway talk that transpired upon hitting the ground was now in reference to me.
Okay.
The PD is sending bombs, transitioning to Brian strapped a bomb to an EMS and sent her in. The verbiage is very important here.
Okay, I understand.
It
but
is
you
only Bison that would have introduced my involvement in any which way.
what was your conversation with Pred that you had on the phone when he was in the bunker?
Something along the lines of, I don't talk to the dogs or something. I'm going to talk to in other words, he was telling me to go fuck myself, and he's going to talk to the senator. After which, the call to the senator was made.
Okay. All right. Well, regardless, we're not here about Bison. So when I first pulled you in to talk about this in the captain's office, and I asked you specifics about the details of the bombing, you said that you couldn't tell me. And
That is correct.
And then I
Some of the
talk to
details, some of
senator.
the specifics, as yes, that is correct.
Right. And why was that?
I was given so upon landing back in San Andreas and all the allegations hitting the hallways of which the senator was made privy to, he was hearing this alongside other allegations that started to go out, of which, look, some of the shit was dumb enough that, it was, things were very exaggerated on a number of topics. When he became aware of this, and understood that, things are being spun in every which way. Things regarding the operation are leaking to TJ Walker directly, not even specific to just the EMS situation. He gave me a direct order. He said, I'm giving you an order that if anyone asks you about the specifics of what happened, be it with Bison or the EMS, the strapping and whatnot, you are to give them my phone number and they are to ask me directly.
Right. And was this a similar situation to when I asked you for the evidence, which you presented to the Senate?
That is a slightly different situation. So it is not the same. No, that had more to do with operational security.
Okay. Have you spoken to the senator since you've been suspended?
Yes.
Okay. And what did that conversation entail?
Wait, have I been? Yes, actually, I have. Should we move on to the MCU stuff, or are we done with the Sanguine stuff? That was separate from any conversation around Sanguine.
Or did you hear my
have
question,
one more
Brian?
question about the EMS. Oh, go ahead.
No. Go ahead, Chief.
Did anyone other than Bison actually give a shit about her life?
I can tell you that everybody was like, there was enough. It was like 30 minutes for all this to go through between, getting the bomb. So first and foremost, she volunteered to do this. I don't know if I referenced any of this.
That's not my question. Is did anyone give a shit about her life other than Bison that knew about the bomb?
I mean, she was everyone cared about her life.
Okay.
I mean,
is there a reason that no one thought, hey, we should probably take the C4 off her person before she's admitted to hospital?
Good question.
People who knew about the bomb
I don't
didn't
know
think to
why.
take it off her.
I don't know why. I can't say because Axel shot me with an RPG at the end of it. So as to why it wasn't removed, I mean, there's a couple of things, right? First off, after she was shot, she was, like I said, Clarkson popped the door open, grabbed her, and brought her in. So any ability to get to her would not have been possible until at the very end of it. As to did they care about her life? Like, I mean, that's kind of a loaded question, given that she had not only volunteered to do this, but her alongside many doctors and other EMS were, as far as I'm concerned, conscribed into the military operation as soldiers at that stage. It was well before we even got to the catacombs, mind you. I believe it was phase 3. So her going from facilitating medical duties now became those of a duty of a soldier. So
Yeah, the question's
you know,
more targeted at the fact that a bomb was left on her during her admission to the hospital, of which the people who knew about it, no one apart from Bison thought, hey, we should go check on that.
I don't want to be overtly cheeky here, but I think I kind of need to be to set the vibe here. Once the shooting stopped, no one gave a fuck. And this is primarily why poor Aaron had to do so much of the work alongside only, I think, like 3 or 4 others. Everyone fucked off. I mean, now granted, there was like I want to say less than 10 by the time the catacomb situation happened. It was like my son Ray and like 2 others. There was like Axel on another side, the false flagging EMS, whatever the hell his name is. And then it was like all medics. Like more than half our standing active army were medics and doctors, which were hard to distinguish because they all wore blue. But those that were holding the angles, and then those were off on the side. So the reality is that most people fucked off. And it was hours and hours. I don't think we were done till like 5 a.m. for everyone to be processed and things to be put in the right place. So I don't know. Like, I don't think anyone gave a shit is what I'm trying to say.
I guess I'll ask some clarifying questions here. So, when the holdout finished, were you still on your feet, or you'd been shot by an RPG at that point?
I was shot by an RPG, from what I understand to be towards the tail end.
So
somehow
were the suspects like in custody at that point, or
yes.
or no?
They're,
Are they okay? So the suspects were in
were
custody.
they? Sorry, no. What I believe to have been their final push, with a handful standing. Axel fired a RPG, and that explosion took me out. I then was transported to Simone Memorial Hospital, after which I got out. I think I was there for a good like hour or so. Yeah, so they weren't in custody for well afterwards. I think maybe an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. It's hard to say, man. That it was like hour 8 or 9 of that operation. So
Right, but to clarify, did yourself or the senator, the two, in the knowledge of the EMS with the bomb, did either of you two follow up with anybody to try and get that bomb recovered? Simple yes or no, Brian.
It's not, because
it is.
And I'm going to explain why. Because when I was taken out, my involvement needed to be limited due to my injuries. My involvement beyond that was anything that would needed to have been done in terms of documentation that would go beyond what was code for. I would not have involved myself with certain aspects of things.
Okay. So prior to you being involved in the push, it was still only you and the senator knew. You didn't let anybody else know, so that we could recover that in case you were incapacitated. I'll take that as a no.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Is something funny?
Yes.
What's funny, Brian?
I think you're asking me, did we, in the midst of getting shot at, watching our people get eaten, say, hey, by the way, let's make sure we recover that C4?
Right, the bomb that could go off and kill everybody that they now have in their possession. You didn't let anybody know about that?
They would have gotten themselves killed, Dark, if they planted the bomb inside, or they would have had to come out and when they would have gotten blasted.
Right, so to clarify, you knew that the EMS had been dragged inside and had a bomb on her person. Did you or the senator let the rest of PD know that they were now in possession of an explosive device?
They had said we already covered that. Everyone knew at that stage there was a C4.
Or so everybody on radio knew that they had a C4 in their
They were
possession?
twatting.
No. Did you and the senator tell anybody?
Everybody knew. They were.
No. Answer
It
the
was
question,
said-
Brian.
spoken about.
Did you and the senator tell anybody that they had a bomb in their possession? Yes or no?
No, because it was already known.
Right, on Twitter, and you expect soldiers, as
Yeah,
you've
because it was
used,
discussed
to
on
be
radio.
Okay, I just asked you if it had been discussed on radio, and then you said everybody knew.
No. You said, did we tell anybody? And I'm saying that no, the twats started coming out and it was discussed on radio. So no, we did not explicitly say that at C4 because inherently they already knew.
Okay, all right. All right, I got no more questions regarding the EMS incident. Anybody else?
None over here.
Okay, let's move. I assume to after you had, I guess, returned to the island and searched the villa and found the explosive manufacturing facility. Was after you went to the hospital and came back, right?
Mm-hmm. I think
Okay.
it was about 2 hours later, something along those lines.
And you stated in our meeting that you had read a manga and built a bomb. Is that right?
I did, yes.
And this was the Senate's orders?
It was agreed on. I'm not gonna. It was. I'm gonna put it this way. I won't even get into the whether the senator stated or did not state, "Hey, let's go make a bomb and do this." That bomb was going to be made by me, first and foremost, to ensure what we had in front of us was accurate for documentation purposes, and because it was a part of our operational necessity to blow up that bench.
Okay.
I think even notwithstanding whether the senator would have been there, I would have taken those steps.
Okay. I guess the first question I have to ask is: have you made a bomb before?
I've been a cop for a long time. I don't think I have.
Okay, so you haven't made a bomb before. Okay. So the bomb you made, you thought was like a, it was a good bomb.
It was
accurate.
a good bomb. Actually, it was a good bomb. Now that I think about it, I just
It's a good
remembered
bomb.
I actually made a hell of a bomb. Yeah, it was very good.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. In fact, I may have the receipt for it.
You-
Hold on one second.
You printed a receipt for the bomb?
Yeah, I actually checked the quality of it. You actually just reminded me. Because, when I was putting it together, who knows, it could have been made very unfortunately, but it was put together quite well.
Okay. And then the bomb was set to explode. Was it the villa or just the manufacturing facility?
I'm sorry?
So your intention was to destroy, was it the villa or was it just the manufacturing facility?
My intention was to fulfill at least a fraction of the objectives given to Foxtrot, which was planting the bombs around the villa. Originally, it was 3 bombs that we were told to place. It then was reduced down to 2. Then it was reduced down to 1. But given what we had and the limited amount of materials, I believe I put together a 85% durability C4, planted it with the intent to blow up not just the bench, but also have the sort of the catacomb become not so accessible.
Okay. Were you and I guess the other people involved in the decision aware that we had officers MIA at the time?
The villa had been cleared. So prior to us even engaging in the catacombs before this EMS thing, I made it a point to, because there was a big desire to like push the catacombs like right away. I interjected both with Axel and the senator, and made it very clear that listen, we can't just be engaging this. We need to ensure the villa is a bit of a maze. There's a lot of like small houses, small rooms like kitchens, many floors. Uh, every single one of those areas was thoroughly checked, not just once, not just twice, but 3 times before the catacomb was engaged. Every room, every like questionable wall, gates that might lead out to the outside was cleared. We spent a good like hour doing just that. There were no bodies there of either combatants or soldiers before the catacomb was engaged. Before the C4 was engaged, that catacomb had already been cleared of any individuals. As for anyone that was taken, I am assuming you're referencing Moosebeard and oh my god,
I can't remember.
Brick.
Yes.
We knew that they were likely kidnapped very early on with the operation before, as we were hitting the ground on the in phase 1 at that airfield. In fact, I had asked numerous times for Ricardo, who was communicating with Overwatch, that we needed to bring it up with Overwatch because for whatever reason they were likely, we suspected, going down there to try to do negotiations on their own accord or had been kidnapped. That conclusion was based on a number of things as their blips were on the eastern peninsula, like the eastern coast of where phase 2 would start. And there was no communication by Overlord. There was no, nothing indicated how and why and should they have been there and based on our positioning. We gave that communication to Overlord multiple times. It was landed on deaf ears. And also as units did push through phase 1 into phase 2, those units didn't even attempt to make their way towards that. I said eastern, I meant western beach side. Instead, we kind of flanked around it, and it kind of looked like a crescent moon, like on the the GPL. So, yeah.
Okay.
I've got a few things to talk about, if I could.
Mm-hmm.
One is that remember we had the Independables, the Kilo Squad. They were kind of like let loose, do whatever the fuck they wanted. The original 3 bombs, 1 bomb was given to Kilo Squad, and it was kind of like a hey, when we get that assault on the
It's nice to have somebody else talk.
I had to put one of those bombs on the wall of the manor. At this point, I was already down. I don't know if they were able to do that. You said earlier that they put it down on a gate, but didn't really detonate, so they needed like the deck codes, right? So that's the Kilo Squad bomb.
That was Axel's attempt to, I think, open the gate, as we were failing to have anybody go and get, like, we didn't have a Rhino, we didn't have deck cords. No one wanted to go back. It took a while, so I think it was impatience sort of to set in, and that's where one of the bombs was used.
Yep, so that's bomb number 1. The other thing is Kilo Squad Independables. Moosebeard and Brick, against my orders, got on a jet ski and just drove onto the island to sneak in before we had even done phase 1. Before we had people on the island of Sanguine, these 2 got on a jet ski and just went there. Within moments, there was a 1047.
We're not even halfway through,
and
I'll be honest.
obviously from the footage, they were captured. Now, there was definitely a lot of incompetence there. They didn't have the explosives. They got themselves caught, and it was relayed, and everybody was aware that they were in there for the entirety of phase 1 into 2 that I was there. It was communicated to Overlord from Ricardo.
We've done this.
We definitely copied it. There's no deaf ears. The second bomb
We've done this.
you guys had,
We've
destroyed
done
the AA
this.
at the start. Third bomb,
That's it.
is the one that you
This is
had,
done.
and I guess was given to Miss Mars up there, right? So
Yes.
that's the 3 bombs, just to cover where the 3 bombs went. One was given to Kilo to use against the meta. Their objective was to put it on the walls, get in. Other bomb was used on AA gun, and then the third bomb that I gave to you, I said very explicitly, I want them to hear the beeps that we heard on our stations and live in fear as they know that we're about to blow in. And the point of the Foxtrot bomb was also like Kilo, was to have it on the walls of the manor and to kind of be like our battering ram to breach through the walls.
Mm.
So that's the 3 bombs in the history of it. Y'all want to continue?
I can't actually remember what the last question was. So to the best of your knowledge, Brian, the officers that were MIA were not in the building when you set the bomb off.
Correct. We cleared multiple times, even
Really?
before we approached that bench. Not only to ensure that our soldiers had been extracted out, but also because we didn't know where it was. So we checked. So to make this clear, during the original fighting, we had cleared the entire villa on multiple times to ensure that we're not getting flanked, that there's no bodies left without medical, et cetera, et cetera. Those were per my own orders, as there was a lot of ADHD setting in. And the last thing I wanted was for us to skip like a door and some motherfucker pops out and just starts blasting him from behind. The second, obviously, we can't leave people bleeding out and, before we push forward, because that's just going to, obviously, that's an issue. But then once we re-arrived on the island, we knew the existence of this, what turned out to be a class 3 weapons bench. But we did not know the exact precise location. In fact, our original intel was incorrect. So we searched high, low, front, and center, and cleared inconsequentially while locating it. So yes, it was very much clear. There would not have been a single body left at that stage.
Was there like a rush for the PD to leave the island? Like, was there any kind of threat to anybody's safety for you to stay there, or was there, could you have stayed, or was there an order to extract?
There was a safety concern as the Eastern Front, on behest of Nick Simone, was still present.
Okay. All right, that makes a bit more sense as to why. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else got any questions about the bomb? Okay, there's a no. I'll go. Another thing that's been brought to my attention, and it's I'm going to go back to 8/11 here, Brian, if you can recall.
I never forget, sir.
So initially, Brian, when you were made aware that Divine was, I guess his cover was blown. I guess what was the situation from your side of things? What happened?
How transparent do you want me to be?
I mean, yeah, I think it's in your best interest to be transparent.
Okay. I'd recently met the Commissioner Axel. He seemed like a bit of a prick. And as he had been doing from day one, I kind of became his bitch, so to speak. He had me do literally everything and anything that he desired at the time, overnight, etc. And so his latest request was, we need to go up to the FIB building and he needs to be detailed as to what happened with Operation Ragnaros. So he was brought in. He started asking a bunch of questions, and then he's like, "Oh, you know what? Let's get the. We need to bring the co-commissioner, aka chairman, down here as well." Toretti started to make his way over, and we also called in Divine so that he could get direct communication line as to what was transpiring, so we could limit any form of telephoning. Now, I believe as we were waiting for, Toretti had just arrived. At this stage, I had given Axel access to the classified files, which he did not previously have access to. He had only some information. And upon Divine, and I want to say Toretti's arrival, I could be off on that. Before we were really able to begin, there was a 311 in regards to capturing Cap Terra Nova, who was wanted for multiple HUT charges. And so for whatever reason, Axel wanted to go to that. So that became the priority instead of, allowing HVTU and whatever units to handle it. So we, 4 of us, got inside of a vehicle and we got derailed in that direction. One thing led to another, in which we believed that Vinny Pistone had taken out a submarine belonging to Crystal's boyfriend, whose name is escaping me
Kevin
right
Ram.
now. Yes, Kevin Ram. Vinny's vehicle was there. His boy that owns Maldini's, I jebaited him into telling me that Kevin Ram had rented it out to him. We saw Kevin Ram up on the highway leaving the port. I pulled him over. He was
Well, I shouldn't
hesitant,
have
made
asked
him
the
bring
question.
it, go back to the beach.
I didn't
We
want a
found
novel.
Kevin Ram's, saw Vinny's vehicle parked there. Now Kevin Ram's fucking, submarine is right there. Clear is being very obstructionist. His situation was kind of pretty crazy, right? Trying to unravel what the hell had just transpired in front of us. I'm speaking to Kevin, trying to get him to cooperate with us because everything we had right there was enough probable cause to bring him in for, accessory for in a series of charges, quite frankly. During that questioning, Divine was standing next to me. He then walked up the little staircase that goes up to where the boat pavement is. And I guess an argument had kicked off between Axel and Divine. Now, mind you, Axel doesn't really know Divine. Divine at this stage is under immense pressure and agitation, and him even being out in the open is a danger for him. I walk up to that platform, and this is the platform that, at the boat docks, where the heli lands and whatnot. And so I'm walking into now this huge argument where they're both screaming at each other. I'm trying to calm Axel down because, number one, I don't even know why we brought Divine out at the stage because his life is already in direct danger. And I don't know why he's being screamed at given everything that Divine has done. It was a lot of Axel screaming, "This is my authority," blah, blah, blah. I've got a big dick. I'm, come from a rich family and now, I run this station. To Divine screaming things like out of agitation of do you understand what I've done for this state? I think a punch or two may have been thrown, but ultimately Divine got so pissed he ran off.
Oh my God.
I was incredibly triggered because these bozos completely are ignoring everything about Operational Ragnarok to chase down a HUT warrant that we didn't need to be involved in, and now they're fighting over some dumb shit when literally the state is in danger. So I don't even know how to unpack all that. All I know is I was fucking pissed. So what happened after that is me screaming at Axel for being a fucking moron. Him screaming back at me as to what your rank is, da 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 da. And look, I was a bit belligerent because
Hold on, what was the question? Because he's been going for 10 minutes, and I'm just not even sure what we asked him. Dark?
Yeah, I think I've I kind of forgot what it
You
was
told me
halfway
to
through.
elaborate. You asked me what happened on 8/11.
Okay.
Right after, yeah,
If you
okay.
wanted to keep going, then keep going. If it answers
I
your
would
question,
like
Dart.
him to keep going.
All right.
I'm waiting for something specific.
All right, then go ahead.
Uh, and so now Axel's like, you know, like screaming at him, yeah. So now I'm yelling at Axel. I'm like, what the fuck did you just do? Do you know what he's done? Like, you don't even know the details. Why the fuck did we come here to begin with? Like you needed to hear what he had to say. Like,
This is
and
very good
Axel's
recall,
now trying
Brian.
to, pull rank on me, and I'm just absolutely frustrated because I'm watching a man that's done so much for us, so much for the state, put his fucking life on the line for, months, had to eat other people, like been under constant question of whether he's going to get a bullet in the back of his head. And now I'm being met with like, I don't care, I'm the boss. And Toretti is now disappeared. Axel is now fucked off. And now I'm sitting here with like trying to figure out what the hell to do next, because someone who I've grown to respect, aka Divine, is now out and about. I don't know what he's gonna do. Axel doesn't give a shit, and now Toretti's off as well, and so I'm left holding the bag for probably the 100th time these last 4 months. So I'm trying to make phone calls, trying to get Divine to answer, and that's when I get Axel. Did Axel come back? I think I don't know what he. Forgot what came first. I believe what came first is like fuck. I don't remember how. But something led me to believe that either Divine had already gone back to the island. I had somehow found out that Divine was back on Sanguine. And that's when I started firing off phone calls. The timeline, it's been a while, so I'm a little, I don't remember what led me to know that.
Don't forget, 8/11.
Yeah, I'm trying my best. But ultimately that led to a phone call to Toretti, like, bruh, he's on Sango. What the fuck are we gonna do? I think at this stage I have now emailed Axel as well, like, bro, what the fuck did you do? You need to come back. We need to figure this out. He's back on Sanguine. Now, I want you to keep in mind that at this stage, we already believe that they know that Divine is the undercover cop.
Yeah. And we're aware.
Like, it's already like, not that they know, but like, we don't believe that he's safe over there. In fact, 2 weeks prior to this, I told him that he cannot go back. It's too dangerous. And he was adhering to it up until that fight that occurred. I called Toretti. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And that's when he tells me that Shelby called Jaeger and asked him if he had Divine.
Oop.
And in that moment, I realized Divine's dead.
Interesting, considering what I'm about to bring up.
I believe what transpired after that was me, Toretti, and Axel trying to figure out what the fuck to do next. Toretti is in La La Land. Axel is like, blasting bombs over Baghdad in his head. And I'm just spiraling, not knowing what the fuck to do.
Bundy.
That's when we get some communication with Divine saying, don't come back for me. I'm staying here, or something along those lines. The conversation, I would say, led us to believe that like he's over there and he's compromised. What the fuck does that mean? Like, how is he over there now? Like, and if he's not, if they
Let
know
him
it's
talk.
him,
Let him cook.
and then what the hell is he planning next? Like, it doesn't add up. Does that make sense? Like, if they know he was the undercover cop, how is he not dead?
Right.
So now the three of us are spiraling into all kinds of ideas like, okay, well, Is he on their side now? Is this even Divine, or is it now Jamie? Have the prions, from all the human flesh completely distorted his brain and sense of reality? And so
Right.
now all of a sudden a wide spectrum of options are now being considered, from, Axel wanting to like fucking snipe him and eliminating him, all the way down to,
Axel.
maybe he'll be fine if we just go back to
Axel.
wedding planning. Ultimately, the resolution
Throwing
here
people under the
was
bus, huh?
we can lean on the fact that he is a wanted fugitive to enact the aegis legislation that allows for him to be extracted.
No one mentioned a
That's
Bundy
when
yet.
the three of us decided to go over to Sanguine, and
Sir
under
no
the
Bundy.
capacity of a aegis.
When you say three of us, who is that?
Me, Toretti, and Axel. Bundy is going to come into a picture in a second, if that's what you want.
So
Interesting.
you saying this happened after Divine got outed, his cover?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes. So like we
Was this the day
spiraled
of or
the
later?
day of.
Okay.
So after he got outed, it was like probably an hour of spiraling and trying to figure out like where in the spectrum we're going to end up landing. Ultimately, I tried to communicate with Jaeger, made multiple phone calls, sent him a text like, "Yo, we coming down, dog. We gonna enact aegis," some shit like that. And in fact, I think I got the text message. But I let him know that we're coming over there, and he was to be extracted out. I'm on your landing pad here on the island on official Aegis business. I communicated with him over the phone. He
Libby
was
knows
fuck off.
something
He's
about
not
this.
over
She's
here.
looked at
Blah
the
blah 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 blah.
subpoenas.
Mind you, at this stage, we've already communicated with Divine. Oh no, sorry. We've communicated with Jaeger. We know he's over there. We're now landed. Bundy joins us. So now it's like me, Bundy. Bundy has his sniper rifle in case we end up going way to the the most extreme option. So me, Toretti, Axel, and Bundy are now on their landing pad.
He just fucking
We did not leave the landing pad. Toretti makes a phone call to Jaeger. I don't know why. Toretti has the least.
How could he?
He's the least like. I don't know why he was making the phone calls. If I'm going to be rather transparent, since he's like in the loop, but like clearly isn't like doesn't know the nuances. But anyways, he calls him. He's having his conversation, trying to like get him to release Divine or whatever. Ultimately, I managed to get on the phone with Divine, who then confirms he's in a room with Jaeger. And I will say that based on that phone call and my time spent with Divine over the past like 2 to 3 months, I was confident. I went from spiraling to confidently saying he's not Jamie. It is still Divine in there, that he has a grander plan in mind, and that I need to trust him. And that a lot of the fears that we had around the uncertainty of what was transpiring in front of us, that we did not need to fear and that we needed to just leave. And so we went, I convinced everyone to go back to Los Santos.
He's the hero again.
It was after this when we tracked
I wonder if Tessa's gonna ask
Jaeger's
for me.
fucking Apache helicopter going from Sanguine over to the boat dock just north of the lighthouse, by a house belonging to one of the guild members that's associated with Jaeger.
Let me go dig something up. Hold on.
And then shortly thereafter, Aurora and Juno had received a phone call from Divine indicating that he was back in San Andreas. I think that covers the full scope of things. There's a lot that happened that night, I think, over the course of like 8-9 hours.
Oh, Tessa?
Okay. Just to be transparent with you, the thing I was waiting for was mention of sniping Divine.
Mhm.
Can you elaborate on like how that transpired and what was brought up exactly?
There was a lot of spiraling. Do we take him out? I think Axel was worried that he might have turned. He was still pissed. He was more still focused on like the um how do I put this in a way that can convey it well? For being disrespected than the bigger picture here. But I think that opinion, that position, that the way that he was sort of behaving about the entire situation, he was more worried about Divine flipping and the affidavit and all these things rather than the bigger picture. And yes, I think collectively that was an option that was on the table. And there was already discussion of, look, it's Sanguine, we can take him out and then operation's going to be fine. And like, what if he does this? What if he makes a bomb? And what if he comes back? And then, there was a lot of the spiraling was very intense and all over the place. I will say that I think that as an option, I think was like I don't think it would have been a reality in any which way unless and if upon landing on the island, we would have been. I don't think that sniper would have been used unless someone were to approach this upon landing.
Was the sniper rifle in question brought out?
Bundy brought it with him. Whether or not he was holding it in his hand, I'm unsure. I don't recall. I think he had it in a case.
Did somebody ask him to bring it?
Yes, I believe we asked him to bring it because he had come in and we said, "Do you have a sniper?" I think we had a second sniper already at this point. I don't remember. We either had one or we had two. Did Axel have a sniper?
I love how
How
Tessa's
did you know he had a
joining.
sniper? Did he volunteer that, or do you just know that from previous Bundy?
I know he's had a sniper since
That's
Norman
fine.
Bones.
Yeah.
He brought up Norman
That's
Bones.
Mm-hmm.
So
He did it.
when that idea was being entertained, it wasn't a joke?
I think it was tongue in cheek. I it's hard to say. It's the spiraling was such a mix of emotion is the best way I can describe it. Is that, if anything, I could see it, stated as between like a joke and, show of force to, but I don't think in any conceivable reality would that have a sniper rifle would have actually been used unless we were, open fired upon.
And the context in which it was brought up, it was in that you all had thought that he had become an enemy of the state and he was switching sides essentially. Is that correct?
I think that was an aura in the air.
Or Brian never
And
gets a
the
straight
topic was
answer.
only brought up after that became a fact.
Correct. And it was dismissed the moment he called me. I mean, I don't want to sit here in the room and suggest that I know him better than anyone here. I know that's not true. But of the individuals, of the four of us in the operational know, having to make a choice, having gotten to know him and what he's been through, having one-on-one conversations with him in private between his stays and his him hiding in San Andreas, outside of Fridays, I knew based on tone, based on context, based on what he told me, that was still divine inside, and that he was not going to allow the operation to be tampered with, and that he was in sane mind, and that what he was doing was very calculated, and that any agitation that he had with Axel was more on a personal level, and that even the circumstances surrounding around
Bundy's
Shelby
statement just
were very
shits on this
targeted to
whole
her and
thing.
not of a more
It doesn't
grandiose
shit on
like
it.
basis, right? He wasn't like in a state
It
of
doesn't.
like fuck Los Santos or anything like that. Like it wasn't.
But
Like
it-
his beliefs weren't aligned with that of Jaeger's. Is what I mean.
It makes it questionable. Did you oppose the murdering of Johnny Devine?
After the phone call, I said we needed to get out of there and that we don't need to take him out or anything along those lines.
No, I'll clarify and specify. When the idea was brought up, did you actively oppose the idea of murdering Johnny Devine?